Everyone, welcome back. So apologies, this is probably be a very late video, especially for the people here in the UK, but I've been kind of busy, but I wanted to get this video out because I've just not long been on the PTS. I've probably been on the PTS about maybe an hour or so, and the first thing I wanted to do was check out this new gear set, the Umbra Initiative. So we'll just briefly go over what the gear set has to offer. 2 pieces is 15% crit chance, 3 pieces is 30% reload speed, which isn't important for this particular build, as we'll get into. And then the 4 pieces we got from the shadows and into the light. So it says, while in cover, gain 10% stacks per second, up to 50. Each stack will give 1% crit damage, which means that if you're at full stacks, you'll get 50% extra crit damage. And an increase of 0.3% RPM per stack. So at maximum stacks, you're looking at an extra 15% RPM. It says the buff does not apply while shooting from cover. While out of cover, agents lose 4 stacks per second at normal speed and 2 stacks per second if sprinting. While out of cover and in combat, gain 10 stacks per second up to 50. Each stack will give 0.5% armor regen while it is consumed, well, when it is consumed. Stacks consume 10 stacks per second only in cover. Now this is a bit of a mouthful. It's a little bit confusing if I'm being completely honest with you. Today what I want to show you is the damage aspect of this. Rather than focus on the armor regen stuff, I just want to focus on the damage because I think most people care about that. And that's basically what I care about. Now, what I decided to do was not really make any particular build. I just grabbed some pieces together. But I really want to show you guys how this compares to another gear set that's currently in the game. The third piece here, or the holster piece here, is this new, another new named item, the Arquebus Brazos. As you can see, the attribute on this guy is 20% weapon damage plus 20% weapon damage. Now, I've seen this come up on Twitter. I don't know if this is intended, but I think it is. So this is going to become very important with most builds. You're going to see this, Fox's Prayers, Contractor's Gloves as meta, I imagine, coming into Season 10. And then backpack-wise, I just grabbed any backpack with damage that was already available. We've got Walker and Harris. Right, weapon-wise, I'm using the Bullet King, only because I wanted to show you guys the RPM on this, which goes up to 1054 RPM, so it's pretty insane. Plus, I can constantly fire to show you kind of damage, etc. The reload speed for me is not a big plus with this gear set. I really feel like nobody cares about that too much. So let's quickly go in here. Let's reset this because I've been doing a bit of testing myself. So what you're going to see in the bottom, at the bottom there, is you're going to see this bar, the green bar, going up, and it's going to go up in 5 notches. Now I'm at maximum here with this particular gear set. Remember, I'm using the Umbra gear set here, and we're at maximum. Okay, so we're basically at the maximum it's going to offer here. Now what I'm going to have to do is step out of cover because the buff from this gear set does not apply whilst I'm in cover. So I'm going to have to step out of cover and then I'm going to fire at this target, and we're going to look at the first kind of amount of crit damage that we get and see what that kind of figure is, because that's basically the most damage that I'm getting out of this build, right? So let's have a quick look. 371,000, and as you can see, it's going down. I am going to have to be sprinting in order to get the max, the least amount of reduction on stacks, but obviously most of the time you're not going to be sprinting. And as you can see, we're going down. Look at the RPM, guys. Crazy, right? So yeah, there we go. So we were looking at about 371,000 there from this gear set. But let's not forget, I have to be out of cover in order to get that buff. And the buff will only last 22.5 seconds if I'm moving side to side, which isn't that long really. And if I'm sprinting, then it'll last 25 seconds or so. I think it's something like that. No, sorry, it'll last 12.5 seconds. Sorry, 12.5 seconds if I'm going side to side, and 25 seconds if I'm sprinting. But so that's it, right? And I'm using an LMG because I thought it might be good to go with an LMG. So there's that, all right? So we've got the figures, 371. You've seen what you can do with this gear set. Now let me just swap over to some that we've already got in the game. Let me move over to Strikers. Okay, I don't use Strikers very much, but it is still very good. Now the biggest difference between these two, and I'll quickly point this out, this build has a lower crit chance and lower crit damage. I'll show you now. So the crit damage on this is 127 and crit chance is 44. And then if I go to the other piece here, this is 53, so an extra 9%. crit chance and quite a bit more crit damage. So overall, this should do more damage anyway. It's actually got better stats, weapon stats in that respect. So let's go back to strikers here. Now, obviously, the difference with strikers is you have to build the stacks up, right? You have to hit your target to get those max stacks. However, you don't have to be out of cover to do it. So let me just quickly go on here and let's get to max stacks, which don't take long. We're at max stacks now. We're looking at 405, 403,000, 409, 400. So we're at about 403 to 410,000 crit, which is what, 40 crit more. Mind you, my crit damage is actually about 15% less, and my crit chance is less as well. So this actually does quite a bit more damage when you think about it. You're looking at about an extra, what, 10% more damage? Yeah, about extra 10% more damage overall. You still get the RPM buff, of course. You don't have to be out of cover. That weapon handling really makes a difference as well. It's much more stable than the other set, which is important. Having that stability, especially with strikers where you'll want it to land every shot, is important. Obviously, yeah, the stacks go down over time, but they don't go down nearly as look at the stacks. They don't go down nearly as quick as the other new gear set does. So you are able to move from cover to cover. You know, if you move from cover to cover for 5 seconds, you get back in cover and then you start firing. You're going to be back up to max stacks fairly quickly, okay? Because the stacks aren't hard to reach up. What I'm trying to say here, guys, is this new gear set is really underpowered at the moment. The 3-piece reload speed, I think, is just not important. Having something like weapon handling, I think it would be just too much like strikers, possibly, but that would be better than reload speed, in my opinion. I did initially think this might be for LMG players, and it still might be. But I think that reload speed isn't that important with most weapons. It might come in handy for some, but generally speaking, I would still stick with strikers in that respect. The 4 pieces, for me, the damage on the damage side, not strong enough. It needs probably an extra 10%. Well, it needs an extra 10% damage to kind of match strikers. But also, you're going to have to be out of cover, and only when you're in combat will you actually be able to get that armor regen. And then you have to go into cover in order to consume those stacks to get that armor regen, I believe is the understanding of the way that works. So, and you also lose the stacks on that damage very quickly in compared to somewhat like strikers. So, I mean, overall, in my opinion, strikers is way better. And I don't think strikers is the strongest gear set in the game in terms of damage either. And just overall viability. I think, you know, Hunter's Fury for me is still one of my favourite in the game, of course. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this out to you guys, show you where this particular gear set is at the moment. It's underpowered. I think I've seen some people on Twitter, or even I think Mark Blade said, why would I not use strikers or this set or that set compared to why would I not use those instead of using this, because it's just not there. And I totally agree. So I'm hoping that the devs will buff this in PTS 2. They're going to have to buff the damage significantly to take into account the amount of stacks that are lost, how quickly they're lost, and the fact that you have to be exposed in order to apply this damage. Something that with strikers you don't have to, because you can stay in cover. That's it, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this one. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff in the comments down below if you did. Until the next one, Epic out.